Browns just need an adult, right? Yeah. I mean, that's really what they need. Like, at this point, it's like when you and your siblings were home and your mom would go away for a couple of days, leave you with your dad. She'd come home, open the door, nobody would have their pants on, there'd be cereal on the floor. That is what happened to the Browns this season. They just need someone to come in, clean up, be an adult, fix the culture, because the talent is there. It's actually a very attractive job.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns are going to be giving Baker-Mayfield his third playbook and his third head coach in 3 years. There was a sportscaster nationally that took a lot of flack when he said Baker's not a number one pick, Freddie Kitchens is a ridiculous head coaching hire, and Baker is not talented enough to overcome the dysfunction he will inherit in Cleveland. Oh, wait, that was me. Here's the problem. Go ahead, fire Freddie Kitchens. But the best candidates, Ron Rivera, not interested. He'll take the Washington job today. Lincoln Riley, Urban Meyer, sources tell me neither's interested. Urban would listen to the Cowboys. And Matt Rule already came out through a source at another network and said, I'm not interested. That leaves you with two legitimate candidates, neither a great candidate. There's the kid named Josh McDaniels in New England, who's never won without Brady and was a disaster in Cleveland, in Denver. And there's Mike McCarthy. Green Bay's winning more without him. And that's the problem when you fire coaches one after another after another. The message is, don't take the job.
Freddie Kitchens was clearly in over his head. But I think on this particular day, Max, we should actually feel sorry for him. He's not a leader of men, but it's because he simply wasn't ready. To go from a positional coach to a coordinator's position to a head coaching position all inside of 8 months, it's just unheard of on the National Football League. But he was elevated to that position, and obviously it was an opportunity that he could not turn down, but he wasn't ready. This is a guy, to me, that could have been successful as the offensive coordinator for a few years in Cleveland before he got this job. But because of Baker Mayfield's insistence to some degree and Dorsey capitulating to it, it ended up ruining the Browns season. A lot of people were calling the Browns Super Bowl contenders. If you recall, Max, I questioned whether or not they would make the postseason. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I feel bad for Freddie Kitchens because he wasn't ready to be a head coach. But I'm sorry that he got fired because he was just promoted a bit too prematurely.
From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Less Levine, it's a Monday night. It's our final show of this calendar year, the end of December. Welcome to More Sports and Less Levine into its 24th consecutive season, or 24th year. We'll haggle that out with the D-man, Dennis Manoloff, if it's 24 years or 20 into the 24th year or whatever. Well, it seems like 24 years, every year of the 24, the Cleveland Browns are looking for a new head coach. Dennis Manoloff of WTAM Radio.
See, this is the new coaching hire beard. I'm not going to shave until they hire a new coach.
Well, I lost mine.
Yeah, you shouldn't have, because I loved your beard. You know, it's good that Brian and Alex queued up the national montage. I like mina-kimes talking about, you know, her analogy of the room with the, you know, all chaotic, the cereal on the floor and everything else, as what the Browns were doing in 19. And, of course, Cowherd is going to crow because he did say that he thought Kitchens was a bad hire, and he's been all over Mayfield, as we know. But I do take issue with Cowherd on one thing, where he says coaches don't want to come here because of all the firings. If I'm a really good coach, I look at the coaches who were fired by the Haslams, by this ownership, and I say, have any of those guys gone on to do great things? The answer is no. They have not as head coaches, okay? So if that's the case, and I believe in my ability to coach, it doesn't matter how many coaches have been fired by the Haslams, because I think it's going to end with me.
Right. And you look at the talent that you believe there is on the roster. You say it makes it's really an attractive job for that reason. First of all, you're exactly right. Cowherd's talking about the fact that they fire people all the time, and Stephen A. Smith said the same thing. Not if you're good, they won't fire you.
That's the thing. We said in the pre-show meeting, Les, the Haslams have been abysmal, and ownership since '99 has been abysmal in hiring coaches. But, and I know you can snicker at this comment, but by and large, they've been good at firing coaches, meaning not just firing them as in volume, but none of the coaches fired by the Browns since '99 has gone on to do anything as a head coach, to my knowledge.
Well, Shermer got the job, but he got fired today.
Well, Shermer went back-to-back 9 and 23s with the Browns and the Giants.
Right.
So he's had 2 disastrous head coaching stints.
You're looking for
Well, and Shermer is an argument against continuity for continuity's sake.
Continuity.
2 franchises did it with Shermer, and they both lived to regret it.
Continuity doesn't mean it's going to be a good thing to keep him. You could have continuity and it gets worse.
Exactly. And
Hugh Jackson.
And then you also can look at first-year head coaches, and you know with the eye test that they deserve longer. For example, Brian Flores of the Dolphins. Flores from the Belichick tree takes over a team that was originally tanking for Tua.
Correct.
Remember, they got their doors blown off by the Ravens in the first game. He had them playing so well at the end of the year, they went into Foxborough and beat the Patriots when the Patriots needed the game for a bye.
Absolutely.
And his team finished 5-11. That's a team you watch and you go, Brian Flores is a guy I want to invest in. Whereas on the opposite side of that, a first-year coach like Freddie Kitchens, who was a train wreck.
Do you agree with what I said in the opening comment that not only was it a questionable hire, but there was no reason you had to give him the play-calling ability here?
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, everything, hindsight's 20/20 and all that. We can all say, oh, look at this, look at that. But even during the season, we were saying, even those of us who advocated for Kitchens to to have a shot, that I was saying, go ahead and gamble on Kitchens, see what happens. But we were saying along the way, hey, he's overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed. One way to rid yourself of some of that burden is to offload the play calling. And you had an established OC in your building in Todd Monken. But Freddie Kitchens, right to the end, refused to do it. Remember, he was asked
On Friday,
entering the last game, would you give him up?
Said there's no reason to do that.
No.
Once you give him up, you give him up.
He was so stubborn, and some would say arrogant. He believed not only that he could do it all the way through week 16 or week 17, but he didn't think anything of his job being in jeopardy when he left Cincinnati.
Let's go